airplane is basically a huge fuel tank with a few little places for sensors and two big engines. The real magic, I would say, and the most radical part of the whole design is the inlet configuration. Now, without the variable geometry on the inlet, we'd be able to go perhaps half as fast as we do right now. Some very smart people a long time ago, late 50s, early 60s, dedicated teams of engineers using slide rules and a lot of pencils and papers and erasers, I'm sure, figured out the design of those inlets to allow this airplane to go Mach 3.
And now, it's time. A unique spectacle of flight that few will see and only a handful will ever experience. Once the SR-71 is airborne, the mission begins to unfold. And that can mean going anywhere in the world to have a look with cameras and other surveillance devices. Only 30 of these planes were built, and as a result, it is a rare sight to actually see an SR-71 in flight. One of the few times that can be accomplished is when the airplane slows down long enough to take on fuel. Then you can really appreciate what a beautiful sight the SR-71 is, slipping through the morning sky.
Contact Solid 322.5. Tron 1 is clear to maintain block 200, blocking 230.
Tron 1 is flight level 210.
While it looks routine, this is a ticklish process. The SR-71 is going just about as slow as it can, and the tanker is moving about as fast as it can. And there are other problems.
The speed differential between the SR-71 and the KC-135Qs that we normally refuel off of. As we get towards our maximum gross weight, towards full fuel tanks, we are at, or very near, our minimum allowable airspeed, while conversely the KC-135 is pushing his maximum allowable airspeed. They're throttles to the firewall, nose down, shaking quite a bit, and we're just wallowing around behind them. It can be very tricky sometimes.
Code 801, flight descend to maintain follow 180 for traffic.
It's not unusual for the two to remain linked for 20 minutes or more. Remember, this is basically a big gas tank with wings.
Raven 1, 200 to 230, and Raven 1's a single ship, and vector heading 180.
Raven 1, roger.
But soon the SR-71 is free to do what it does better than any other airplane in the world. Speed, blistering speed that enables it to survey more than 100,000 miles of airspace in less than an hour. As you might imagine, this sort of performance broke many a record. The most famous, perhaps, was a flight from New York to London in a staggering 1 hour and 54 minutes. The Blackbirds have set more than 7 speed and altitude records, and one gets the feeling more would fall if some of the airplane's highly classified missions were ever made public. And yet it remains a very flyable airplane.
From a pure pilotage standpoint, I'd say the airplane is fairly easy to fly, although you have to temper that with the fact that I've been doing nothing but flying Air Force airplanes for the last 16 or 17 years. The airplane is fairly docile, low speed and low altitude, although the controls are fairly heavy. And once you get the thing supersonic, climbing up to our operating speeds and altitudes, then it handles very, very well.
Back at the base for a few touch and goes. Practice, yes, but one also gets the feeling that the sheer exuberance of piloting such an amazing machine makes it hard to put it back down for the day. The heart races at the mere sight of one. The ultimate in high-altitude reconnaissance, the SR-71 is without peer in the world today. Yet few people really know what this airplane is all about, what it's like to fly, and how much of what we hear is myth and how much is reality. Join us as we go behind the scenes to clear away some of the mysteries surrounding the SR-71. What was once a U.S. Army base is now the headquarters of one of the most important units in the Strategic Air Command. Welcome to Beale Air Force Base and the 9th Strategic Reconnaissance Wing. Where flying at 3 times the speed of sound above 80,000 feet is common practice. In many ways, this is more a space plane than an airplane. As you will see, it operates in that thin layer of atmosphere on the very edge of outer space. For the pilots, there is nothing quite like it. Let's learn about this special bird and the special people who fly it.